workshop today. We're going to go over a couple of different ways that you can not only manage your stress and time during finals week, but also like moving forward into the next semester, how can you start the semester strong as well? So let's just jump right into it. So firstly, I want to talk about stress itself. And, it's something that we all experience, whether we want to or not. It's an unavoidable part of life, right? But really, what is it at the end of the day? Why do we feel stress? So stress is what is actually known as your fear response. It's your fight or flight. You might have heard that before, right? But instead of like we're facing a bear or a dinosaur back in the Stone Age, like we're facing our final exam, our final project, an essay or something like that, right? Arguably maybe a little scarier sometimes. So it's our fight or flight response. But there are two ways to break stress down into these categories called eustress and distress. So the best way to think about it is that your eustress is your good stress. It's the type of stress that challenges you, that pushes you to grow, that gives you that push to become better and like just grow those skills, that resilience, right? Your distress, however, is going to be the type of stress that is overwhelming. It's really difficult when you're in distress to see a way out of the situation, to become solution oriented. You sort of feel frozen in space, like you can't make any progress. So I'm sure as you're like thinking about these different types of stress, you might be thinking of some things that come to mind, right? So maybe a paper that you need to write, but you're sort of excited about because you like the subject is your eustress, right? It's good stress. You're learning, you're growing, you're doing all that stuff. Distress is when you are feeling like you don't know any of the content and you can't get hold of your professor and it's starting to really stress you out and overwhelm you, right? So those are going to be two different examples of eustress and distress. So before we get into some of the some of the stress management techniques, I wanted to do a quick true or false with Kahoot. So if everybody can either grab your cell phone or open a new tab on your computer, or just on your cell phone if you're on your phone right now, go ahead and join. So the link is kahoot.it, and then the pin is up here, 5995207. So we're gonna do a lightning round, basically true or false, so that we can bust some myths surrounding stress, is basically the way that we're going to talk about it here. So stress myth busting. I was going to say myth busting. You know what I'm talking about, myth busting. I have my coffee, I promise. All right, we have 5 people in. Missing a couple, I'll give y'all some time. Okay, we got one more. I think it was Ivy. All right, let's get started. If you need to join after, you definitely can. So first, true or false question. Your body doesn't care if it's actually experiencing a stressful situation or not. True or false? What do we think? Very quickly, a lot of people, everyone said false. So the answer is true. So the whole point of this question is the difference between, are you in that stressful situation or are you worrying about the potential of that stressful situation happening? Okay. So in the actual test, maybe you're experiencing that stress about not understanding the prompt, a question, right? But let's say it's a couple nights before and you're stressing about what could possibly happen on that test, even if it's not happening in that moment, right? Your body's response is exactly the same. So what that means is that you're still gonna have those symptoms of your immune system shutting down, your digestive system shutting down, your fight or flight starts to turn on. So I hope that makes sense, right? Even if it's in your head or if it's happening in real life too, your body, same response. So that's why it's really important to be cognizant of our thoughts and exactly why we are feeling stressful, because it can have a big effect on our bodies. All right, second question. Stress can make smart people do not so smart things. True, yes. So I like this question because I think that, we all feel sometimes like we make bad decisions under stress. And I want everyone to know how normal that is, because it is, again, your response to this situation that you've never faced before. So have some patience with yourself and know that every day you are learning on how to respond better to stressful situations. All right, next question. People can become numb to their stress. True or false? True. And I think a lot of us have experienced this at some point. And it's, again, really important to be cognizant. If you are just like living in a permanent state of stress lately, you can become very desensitized to it. That's another way to say instead of numb. So take a step back. How can you become a little bit more present in this situation, right? All right, Emma's still in first. Next question. We can't control how we respond to stress. True or false? Okay, so some people said true, but you might feel that way, right? You might feel like you can't actually respond to stress in your own way, but it is false. You do have all of the control always on how you respond. The difference is that maybe you feel like you can't control how you react. Okay, so let's think about the difference between reacting and responding to stress. All right, Janine's coming up. One more. The best strategy to handle stress is when it happens. So in the moment, you handle stress right when it's happening. Great job. False. And that is my segue into prevention. So, so we're going to get back to the Kahoot. So keep the tab open. There's just one more that we need to go over, but I want to talk about prevention for a second. So let me go ahead and open this up. So prevention. I always find it funny that this presentation gets requested to me during finals week when everyone is under the most amount of stress, right? Because especially at HLP, we always try to promote prevention as the best way to manage your stress. So I just put a link in the chat that I would like everybody to do. It's a quiz that I created called How Well Can You Manage Stress? So remember what I spoke about earlier with eustress and distress? This sort of relates to that in a way where it's like, can you view most of the stress that in your life as eustress, as that good stress? And the only way we really can do that is if we are in our best shape possible to begin with. So I'll explain a little bit more after. So go ahead, click on the link in the chat and take the quiz. And if everyone can tell me when you're done, just give me a thumbs up or put done in chat. It's really quick. Just asks you to rate yourself, a little bit of self-reflection here. So go ahead and take the quiz and tell me when you finish up with it. And I'll give everyone about like 2 or 3 more minutes. And just let me know when you finish up. Okay, Karen is done. Diane, Emma, Jennifer, done, done, done. Okay, now keep an eye on what your score was, okay? So keep an eye on what your score was, and we're gonna do the last question. So, how did you score? So remember, this is completely anonymous. So return to the Kahoot and tell me, how did you score? Okay, so somebody was in the high vulnerability and most were in the low vulnerability. So this is basically what this means. So when we're talking about vulnerability, like I mentioned earlier, stress is going to happen whether we want it to or not. It's an unavoidable part of life. So when I ask the question of how well can you manage stress, it has everything to do with how are you taking care of you every day so that when stress does happen, because it is inevitable, you are able to handle it with ease, you're able to respond instead of react, and you can sort of turn any type of stress into that eustress, into that good stress, sort of letting it like almost slide off your back basically. So take a look at some of the statements that I asked in that quiz, right? A lot of them were surrounding your health and your well-being. And that's because your health and your well-being is sort of like a shield to all of the ish that the outside world brings in to us. So I want you to think about that and think about maybe some of the ones that you scored never on. If you put a number 1 in some of the answers, maybe thinking about how you can improve those areas of your life and see how that affects your stress in the future as well. So I hope that was a little enlightening with that too. But there's always the question of what if prevention didn't happen, right? We're here, we're already stressed, it's already finals week. What if we didn't have time to prevent the stress? First, I want you to identify if it was eustress or distress, right? So can you identify if this is something that is challenging you and pushing you to grow? Or do you feel so completely overwhelmed that you need some help here, right? So let's say you've identified that it's distress. I want you to then talk to your support system, right? Is there a way that you can actually like ground yourself back into this moment and create some healthy coping strategies surrounding? One of my favorite ones is definitely problem solving. Like, how can I take control over the situation right now? And if I can't, can I let go of the fact that I can't control it? But then, like I said, you have your support system. And that's going to be one of the biggest things here in terms of distress, is being able to talk to the people that you love about what's stressing you out, feeling seen, feeling heard, feeling validated. And then working past that and trying to solve those problems, relax a little bit more. And there's so many ways that you can do that, that honestly, nothing I tell you is going to be new information. You know what is going to help you relax in that moment as well, and doing so in a healthy way. But listen to your body, listen to your intuition. Your stress response is there for a reason. It's not unnecessarily stressing you out. I want you to get used to listening to it and listen to what it's trying to tell you. So that's what I would say. If prevention didn't happen, if you weren't able to do a lot of those different check marks, I like to call them, like a little checklist, then this is what you would do. So let's really quickly talk about some time management. And if at any point anyone has any questions, you can always private message me, or like you can put it in the chat, interrupt me. Very open to being interrupted at all times, so no worries about that. So with time management, I always love to start with the fact that if you don't know what you want to do with your time, how are you going to manage it? Okay. So this is a week where we need to manage the ish out of our time, right? There's so much going on. I'm sure a lot of people have multiple projects, multiple exams, and everything like that. So how are you going to manage what it is if you don't know what you want to do with your time in the first place? So get clear on the goals, right? Get clear on what your goal is for each project. And once you meet it, put it aside and get it done, right? So get clear on those goals. And what we like to do here is talk about SMART goals. So SMART goals stands for specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and time-bound goals. So it's an acronym. We love acronyms here. And we like to say to set these goals and make them SMART because we want you all to get a really clear headspace before you actually go and take action to actually do these goals, right? So I always start with this. If you don't know what you want to do with your time, how are you going to manage it? And I ask that question a lot to students because many times they'll come to me and saying that they're procrastinating, but they don't actually know what their next step is going to be. So get really clear on it. And the hope is that once you get really clear, you actually start to diminish procrastination as well. And I wanted to talk about some common misconceptions when it comes to time management. I see students pretty much every day in regards to their stress and their time management in one-on-one situations with consultations. And this is some of the most common misconceptions that I hear every day. So the first one is, I don't need to write it down, I'll remember it. And I am not doubting the fact that you are a smart person who has great memory, but you are also human and you need to write it down. So not only should you write down what you need to do, but you should stick to one place. I don't know if anyone does this. I was guilty of this a long time ago. I would write something down in my phone, and then I would also write something down in my planner, and then I wouldn't have one place where I was writing everything down, so I completely forgot about it. So definitely sticking to a digital or a physical place and always writing it down. Second misconception is people love to schedule their small tasks into like their calendar and their day. A good example would be, oh, I need to read this chapter. I'll do it at 3 p.m. Bad news. It doesn't really work, you guys. It doesn't really work quite often that way. Unfortunately, I wish it did, right? But like I said before, we are human. And what we need to do is be more realistic with what we are doing in terms of managing our time. And I'm going to give you what you should do with these small tasks in just a second. But like I wrote here, you put them in your to-do list and you do them in your free time. And then lastly, I would say the most pertinent question that students come to me with is about prioritization. And it's very common for us to have a bunch of different things coming on all at once. But this is like my key, my golden rule. Like if you're going to leave here with anything, I want you to leave here with this. And it is how to prioritize your tasks. Because getting overwhelmed is quite common right now. And the best way to clear that sense of being overwhelmed is prioritizing. So start with what is due next. That's quite obvious, I think. I think we all sort of do that. What is due next? But then it's not uncommon to have multiple tasks due on the same day, almost even same time, right? Especially in college. So you're going to start with the task that takes you the least amount of time and then move into the task that takes you the most amount of time. The reason we do this is for a couple of reasons, but mainly to prevent burnout. So during this time, burnout is so real. And what happens is that you're like overloading your brain with the hardest thing, the thing that takes the most amount of time first, that you don't even want to get around to all of the other things that you probably could have done much quicker and much easier as well. So that is the main reason why we prioritize this way. But I'm going to give you all a resource guide right now. So let me go ahead and pull it up. So I created this resource guide. It's called The Complete Guide to Getting Ish Done. So I would like you all to bookmark this and keep it around so that you can always have it with you. And so, like I mentioned, I didn't want to overload you with too many information or too much information right now, but if there's one thing I want you to do is to definitely click the link that I just put in the chat, bookmark it, and review it at your own time as well, because I put so many specific tips in here on how to live a productive, lifestyle, basically. Like, how can you be so efficient and productive with your time? So for anybody who might be watching this on YouTube, you can go to our website, go.fiu.edu/HLP, resources, time management resources, and it's all right there. So yes, please take a look at that resource. Not only because I spent a lot of time creating it, but I think it's quite good, and it's something that I give all of my students regardless of the level that they're at in their time management. They can come to me and say, like, I don't know how to do anything, and I still point them to this. And then they can also come to me and say, like, I'm pretty good, but I can be better, and I also give them this. So all levels of time management, great resource. And then lastly, I just wanted to end with a quick quote. So, it isn't the load that breaks you down, it's the way you carry it. And this is a quote that we always really want to come back to when we think about stress and time management, because like I mentioned, it is definitely unavoidable. Stress is a part of life. That is the bad news. But the good news is that you have the ability to carry that stress in a variety of different ways. If it's from a prevention point of view, if you are great with prevention, that's personally what I have to do to manage my stress better. Or if you are much better at a respond instead of reacting point of view, there's going to be so many different ways that you can actually manage that stress. And yes, I could have sat here all day and given you tips on like meditate and breathe and do yoga and get massages and do this and aromatherapy. And yes, that's all valid and that's all true, but it's not going to mean a thing if you are not looking at your stress and how you are responding, how are you reacting to it. And that comes with the self-reflection piece that we did earlier with the quiz, with the identifying if it's eustress or distress, and having that support system to talk to and act as a sounding board as well. So yes, I really hope that this was a helpful way to look at your stress and time management for this week. I just wanted to close off by showing you our website so that you can see all of the different resources we have right now. So if you go to go.fiu.edu/HLP, it'll take you to our website here. And we do have a limited amount of in-office, on-site services. So some things like our aromatherapy program. So we have free essential oil blends that you can pick up in our office, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We have free safer sex materials. And then we also have a limited amount of massages that occur in an open spaced, heavily sanitized, everyone's required to wear a mask area, so that you can also take advantage of those. So we are open not only this week, but all the way up until the end of the year. The only days that we are closed are going to be when FIU is closed. So keep that in mind. Even if you have, even if we don't have class going on, we're still open. So you can still get massages and still see us and still get all of our different services. But we have more resources down here, like the one I just sent you, a bunch of different resources. And then also our YouTube channel is a very great resource for all of our past workshops. So you would just click on online education and videos so you can see all of that different information as well. And lastly, as you all just saw probably, Ivy just put a survey in the chat. So if you have a second to fill out that survey, please do so. And if you have not already sent me your Panther ID number, please send it to me. That's how we keep track of who came to the workshop today. And I also just want to open the floor to questions. If there's anything that you wanted me to review again, if there's something that you have a question about or feel like I didn't answer. Oh, but lastly, wait. Now I'm going to rewind. The most important part, I think, and for terms of our services, is that you can still see us for one-on-one consultations too. So we're doing one-on-one consultations via Zoom for stress management, time management, nutrition and dietetics assistance, for substance use, nicotine reduction, so like trying to quit or reduce your use of any nicotine products. So yeah, there's so many different resources we have, but our consultations, like let's say that there's something that is like very personal and individual to you in terms of your time management and stress management, you can always book a consultation with myself or another health educator so we can talk about that and talk about your best way moving forward to manage your stress better. But thank you so much, Emma. Yes, we have free essential oils in our office. That's expensive, y'all. Take advantage of it. Definitely take advantage of the freebies like the oils, the massages, all of our different resources. And we have a bunch of events going on this week. Every day at 3 p.m., I will be teaching a really quick 30-minute yoga sequence over on our Instagram. So that is at FIU HLP. I just put in the chat. So if you want to follow us. And Karen, yes, to set up a consultation, you would call us to make, here, that's our phone number. So you would give us a call and set up, say you want to do a stress management consultation. And so, or a time management consultation, whichever one you're interested in. And they would set you up with all of the information you need, your appointment, the forms. It is free for all FIU students. I don't know if I mentioned that, but yes, free. It's included in your health fee as well. But yes, I'm going to be doing yoga every day this week at 3 p.m. and saving it onto our IGTV as well. So if you want to do more of like an active stress management relaxation, yoga is a great way. I've been a yoga teacher for this year and it's been a wonderful experience. Definitely look at the guide I sent earlier, Karen, the link that I sent for the Get Ish Done. So yes, make the appointment with one of us if you would like. But also look at the guide that I just sent because it is extremely detailed in terms of like how to manage your time well. But if there's more questions or things that like are more pertinent to you, right? Please, yeah, make that consultation and we will help you the best we can, for sure. And then I just want to reiterate, if you did not fill out the survey that Ivy posted earlier, here I just put it back in the chat. And again, any questions anyone has, please let me know. But if you don't have any questions, then you are more than free to head out. But I'll stick around for a couple more minutes just in case.
Thank you so much, Victoria.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
I'm sure we will be in touch soon to plan some other things.
Yes, we will see you around. All right, I don't think anyone has any other questions. No, okay. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
So much.
You too.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.